Welcome to our breakout session here. My name is Lars Jeppesen. I'm the CEO and co-founder of both Tech One Global and Enadoc. Today we are going to discuss. Today, basically, in the whole program, we have been discussing how digital transformation is changing the workplace and what is the impact of this digital transformation for the BPO industry. One of the key drivers or the key driver in the BPO industry, of course, is the employees. And recently, we have had a look into how organizations in not only the BPO industry, but of course across different industries, they manage their employee information, the employee files, the employee engagement systems and things like this. Enadoc is an enterprise content management system. So of course, we have taken it from the angle of how do you really manage your 201 files, which is the employee file here in the Philippines. And we have asked a variety of organizations, not only BPO, but it happens to be that 38% of the respondent companies came from BPO, and most of them are bigger companies. I mean, most BPOs are in the range of 100 people and up, and many of the BPO companies have thousands of employees. Some of them even hundreds of thousands of employees. So the amount of 201 files in a BPO is quite solid. So why is it that we are talking about digital transformation in not only the BPO but across our industries? So first of all, the overarching challenge and opportunity we have right now is a hybrid workplace. And in the main session earlier, we heard many discussions about how we deal with people who are in the office or at home or in different locations. So the hybrid workplace is here to stay. So that's obviously is a part of of the reasons why digital transformation is so important. But besides the hybrid workplace, there are three main reasons why we go for a digital transformation project. One is create value, improve efficiency, disrupt our industry, and grow our business. And employee and customer satisfaction. So employee satisfaction is a key in this industry because the retention of employees is not very high. The rotation of employees is high. So having a digital transformation strategy around employee engagement or about employees is very important. So employees feel a part of the organization, but also feel that the organization is driven in a modern way. The life of all of us is that we are using apps for many things, whether it's ordering our Christmas gifts these days or paying our bills. And then when we go to work, we very often feel a complete different environment. So that frustration is a part of the employees leaving. There are very, very good reports about why people leave the industry. And one of them is frustration and the rigid rules, which very often evolve around standards that are not digitally transformed. So we need to have self-service, we need to have relevant and timely information. And then, of course, we need to look for business continuity. And here we need to look at security, compliance, and disaster preparedness. So those are the kind of the areas where digital transformation can really help organizations. And how do you get started with the digital transformation? There are basically three pillars of digital transformation. The first or foremost is that people always think about the end, which is the digital future. And very often we think, okay, I need an app. We need to develop digital tools for our company. We need to be engaging with our employees in digital ways. We need to engage with our customers in digital way. But very often that drive does not become successful unless we take two steps back. So going all the way back is really digitizing the past. That means bringing in legacy systems and processes into the digital world, and then converting those and converting the other part of our day-to-day processes. That is a foundation for creating this digital transformation and the digital future. So we all know when we talk about 201 files and we talk about many employees, we all know what the past looked like, right? It looked something like this. And we have seen a variety of ways of managing paper-based documents, everything from very well organized big archive rooms to shipping containers in a port full of 201 files where nobody knows where anything is. So variety is there. Why is it that the present very often looked like the past? So if this is the past, how come that many of us, when we go back to the office, the past still looks like this? And this is basically because I had created a different headline first. I said we love paper because I think that's the truth. We really love paper. We have this feeling about paper and documents in paper format that they're familiar, they're well known. We know how to manage it, right? And until recent, most of the information anyway have been on paper, so it's a natural place to start. It's accepted and understood by anybody. You take out a piece of paper and show somebody, they immediately know what's going on. If you take out yeah, I just arrived from a trip after almost 1.5 year, and you line up at the airport in immigration in any of the countries I traveled through. Those people who took out a piece of paper with their vaccination details or with their test results, it was fairly easily managed. But all of the rest of us who took out a mobile phone and want to show the app or show the QR code, it was still more complicated. So even though that should have been the basis for this specific process, paper is still very familiar and it's widely accepted. And of course, it also, when you walk into a company and you start your job, if you're a new HR practitioner in a BPO, the HR files are there in paper, so it works for the people behind me before me. So for sure, if I want to change anything, it's going to be a big job, and I have to do it. And of course, when you have paper, it's universal. There's no software or hardware recognized or required to be able to read or to share anything. We can take a piece of paper, we can go to the photocopier, we press a button, now we have two copies, and so on and so forth. We can annotate with our pens and highlight with highlighters. So that whole thing becomes a scenario where people becomes very attached to paper. So we just have to recognize that it's a big part of the process here is change management. It's like those comfortable shoes or the favorite T-shirt that you have to give up because it just doesn't work anymore. And it really doesn't work. I mean, the common pain point is that all across people are not able to find the files. They are not having enough storage space. They cannot organize their files. They cannot have a secure way to share documents, because once you take out a piece of paper, that's the only copy, right? So if it's lost, it's lost. Incomplete files is a pain point. So across the board, there are a lot of challenges, and almost all of the respondents we had, you can see they have challenges across many different areas, which are related to the fact that the documents are, or the files, the 201 file is not digital. It's maybe in many cases even not paper-based, it's hybrid. That means some information is in paper format and some information is in digital format. You may have a HR management system, HRIS system with some information, and then supplementary information is in other files, and some files meaning digital files, and some other information is in paper-based. So there's no standard. It's difficult to address. Is this employment contract in digital format or is in paper format, and where do you look first? But yet, with all these challenges and pain point, only 3% of the organizations we asked are using a proper dedicated document management system or enterprise content management system to manage their documents. So 97% use all kind of other solutions, anything from hand filing, paper filing. 1/3 of the applicants of respondents said, one third said that they are keeping their documents on paper. And of course, in a human resources system. That means you have already this hybrid world. Then you have the scan documents. How do you manage the scan documents if they are not in a system, if they are just, shared in a drive? A lot of organizations, they buy a scanner or buy a photocopier with scanning function, and they scan documents and keep it in a shared drive. And it has a huge amount of challenges, even if that shared drive might be on cloud in OneDrive or Dropbox or things like this. And 1%, only 1% use outsourced storage. That means that all the documents that you have, they are in your prime office property in Makati, for example, or in one of the BPO areas in your high rent BPO economic zone building. You are spending a lot of that space for storing the documents. And how do we then manage those documents? Well, we maintain spreadsheets. That means I have an Excel spreadsheet with all the employees. I have a list of all the documents I need, and manually go and update and enter that. So it sounds like this is a challenge, and obviously, it's not so much of challenge if documentation and tool on file is not really an important part of the job. If you think about an HR function, you would think the important part of an HR function, we in our company call it people and culture. So it's very far from filing, right? You don't think filing when you think people and culture. So the important part of people and culture, or HR, is recruitment, employee engagement, employee education, and onboarding, offboarding. A lot of processes that are not related to documentation. Not, if you would think about a person working in HR, I'm an HR manager. What do you do? I do filing. You will never think that should be the case, right? So that should be the least priority for these companies, and that's probably why they didn't really fix the problem. But it's not. 85% of the respondents said this is a priority. Document management, file management is a priority to them, and 15% is it's somewhat a priority, but it is on the top of all the questions we ask. What is the priority of the HR department? Filing is a priority. So it's very challenging to understand that there is a solution, there is a process, there's a lot of complication with the existing system, but still we cling on to it. We love paper. That's probably it's a big project. It's difficult to do it, perceived like that. So we kind of don't change. We leave it to the next generation to kind of fix that. So why should you get an ECM? Why is it that it's better to have a document management system, enterprise content management system, than having a paper-based filing system? Well, if you look at the three different areas, I think, which are important, you have a search engine side. You can easily find your document, and you can easily use information about your documents in other processes. One of the features we have in Enadoc, which I will show at the end, is a dashboard where you can see in the dashboard how many files are complete, how many of the employees have an MBI clearance, how many employees, and which employees don't have an MBI clearance. Are there any documents that are outdated? For example, a health certificate for employees in a health BPO. Do you have the certification needed to deliver the customer service or the support services that your organization is giving? That kind of insight you can get from an ECM, which is connected with a presentation data presentation tool. Of course, you can search for things in many ways. You can search for that employee's specific NBI clearance, or you can search for a variety of different things. So you have a broader access. Let's say, for example, I want to look at all employee contracts that has been signed between the 1st of January 2019 and the 31st of August 2020. I want to see those because we used a term, and I want to see if that term has been used in all these employment contracts. So you can do that broad search. You can now retrieve that, and you can now use. Imagine you had to do that manually. go through your files and figure this out. So compliance, business continuity, confidentiality, for example, nobody have access. You have to log in to see your information the same way as we do with every other information. We could not imagine, other documents just being widely accessible, right? So here we have documents which are very confidential, employment contracts, employees' details, and data breaches are very serious. But yet they are available in a format that, you remember we had earlier the argument, anybody can see, right? You can open the file, you can read anything. You don't have to have special tools. You can even take pictures of the files with your smartphone that you have in the pocket. So the exposure of data is quite a relevant risk. And of course, we talk about the hybrid workplace space, which we talked about earlier. People working from home or people working from office have access to the same information. And the last part is the backup and recovery. For any IT system we have, we're always concerned about our backup. Just think about your pictures, your own photographs on your own phone. If that phone disappeared without you having an iCloud backup or things like this. So the same thing goes for your paper-based documents. Very few organizations would ever go through the process of taking a photocopy of every single document and storing that in a separate place. But when you have a digital document, you can not only store it in a different place, you can make sure that place is in a different geography. You can have a backup of the backup of the backup. You can have failover. You can have many technologies that make sure that your documents are available all the time. So with all of this, why should you choose Enadoc? Well, I think first of all, you should consider using an ECM. You should go through that process. And then, of course, in that process, you should also consider Enadoc. Of course, that's why I'm talking here. But Enadoc really is a solution that is built for the enterprise. So that means you have all the enterprise features in Enadoc that you require to be able to do your work, whether it's managing millions of files or reporting or access control, security, integration with Microsoft Office, Microsoft Flow, and Teams. All of that is there in Enadoc. So you can really have the transformation to the modern workplace with Enadoc. Enadoc, we talked about earlier, different type of search. You can search in many different ways. That means you can find that document you need, and you can automate the search. That means you can connect your third-party products with a interface to search and find the documents that you need from Enadoc when you need them in those applications. You can capture documents from any type of device. That means if you have a huge volume of documents, you can capture using volume capture devices. On the other hand, if you have people working from home that need to add documents in the process that they might have with them, or people who are traveling, you can use mobile devices as well. And all of that is fully secured with what we call hexagonal security, which is a combination of passive security and active security. So the passive security is things like watermarks or invisible watermarks. So that means if the document leaks, the digital document leaks, or somebody shares the document, there's an invisible watermark inside that you can track who is the one who released that document. We have things like encryption. We have multi-factor authentication when you log in. So all the strengths of the most advanced securities here in Enadoc. And on top of that, we have a feature which personally, it's always something that a sales guy would say, right? But personally, I love Enadoc Sign. We use Enadoc in Sign in our office, in our company, and we have certain workflows. That means, for example, finance documents get signed off by the person who prepares the document. It goes to their immediate manager for checking, or supervisor for checking, goes to a regional finance officer before it comes to me. So it's been checked and signed by the people in the process, so I can comfortably sign the document when it comes to me, and it can then go back and be used to send instructions to third-party banks or contractors, things like this. It can be used for employee contracts. It can be used for any process, basically. So very, very cool feature that we would love to show some other time. I'm not going to do a demo here, but this is something you should look at. And then I think a very cool feature as well is our integration with Power BI. So Power BI is the reporting platform, data visualization platform of Microsoft. And basically, you can connect your Enadoc with Power BI and then have a compliance and audit dashboard where you can see which documents are there, how many employees are having the complete documents. It's just a sample what you have seen here. And if you would click on any of those elements, you would see a detailed list, or being able to export a detailed list to Excel or other tools, where you could then have activity based on that specific process. So that means, for example, you have a document that is expiring. You could contact those people with expiring documents from within Power BI and ask them to submit those documents. And you can keep reminders that you actually got them. So a lot of things you can do here. So if you want to read more about this study that we have done, it's available on our website, and we will share the link in our video that you can get afterwards, because I think you can probably not click from the screen here. But we have a white paper, 6 reasons why you should digitize your HR2 on file, and that white paper is based on these questions and answers that we had across the industry. So with that, thank you very much for joining our breakout session today. I hope that you learned something, and somebody is going to do some magic now. I think Miko or Mimi will click something, and then you will be teleported back into the main room. But thank you very much for joining our breakout. And if you have any requirement for any information, feel free to contact me or connect with me in LinkedIn. My name is Lars Jeppesen. Thank you very much, and have a great day ahead, and have a great afternoon session after this breakout. Take care. Thank you.